We spent the rest of the day in Gedrir's cabin, deep in the forest. Around the fire, he told us about his research on his ancestor Valamir, between ancient memories and fragments of legend. The fatting light filtered through the disjointed planks, casting the flickering shadows of the flames on the walls. When night fell completely, we decided to return to the village tavern to spend the night, leaving behind the old researcher and his scattered parchments. The morning chill clings to your skin, carrying the scent of damp earth and fresh beginnings. The group rides quietly, lost in their own thoughts. Gedrir, mounted beside you, seems lost in nostalgia, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The river Dalmer stretches out ahead, its gentle flow mirroring the calm after the storm of secrets shared. You think back to the countless maps, diagrams, and stories Gedrir pored over, trying to commit every detail to memory. The weight of responsibility settles heavier with each passing mile, but you're not alone. Behind you, Corvar rides with a quiet intensity, his usual gruffness tempered by a sense of purpose. Eldar rides tall, his gaze sweeping the surroundings, ever vigilant. Tavnar chats softly with Lysar, who's absent-mindedly fingering his bowstring. As you near Daguar, the familiar landscape brings a mix of comfort and trepidation. Soon, you'll reunite with the other recruits, unaware of the true purpose behind your quest. How will you balance these two paths, the official mission and the secret one, hidden beneath? Gedrir breaks the silence, his voice barely above a whisper. Remember, Kalar, the key remains our secret, for now. His words hang like mist, reminding you that even amidst friends, there are secrets that must remain unwrapped. The return path winds along the Dalmer River, still swollen by the melting snow. The late morning sun shines down on us, casting a peaceful golden glow over the hills. We ride at a leisurely pace. The horses are panting and we joke among ourselves. Our spirits are high. Daguar is not far away, perhaps only 2 hours away. Tavnar leads the way, his eagle, Erar, perched on his left forearm. The bird observes the surroundings, its piercing gaze sweeping over the thickets and branches. For a while now, I've noticed that Tavnar has been talking less. He keeps his eyes fixed on the edge of the woods, tense. The silence becomes strange, almost oppressive. Only our hooves strike the sodden earth, and the murmur of the river accompanies our progress. Suddenly, Erar spreads his wings with a shrill cry and soars toward the sky, beating the air powerfully. Tavnar immediately freezes, straightening his torso and raising his hand to signal us to stop. "Wait," he breathes. His gaze sweeps over the trees. The eagle soars high, circling above the road, then lets out a second, shorter, sharper cry. Tavnar narrows his eyes. "Something's moving over there," he murmurs, "in the undergrowth." I strain my ears, nothing at first. Then a faint noise like the cracking of a branch being crushed too slowly, too quietly. The breeze drops. The silence becomes heavy. Even the horses begin to snort nervously. From experience, I prefer to anticipate. "Everyone, get off your horses and take cover behind the trees. Now, Gedrir, get behind us." Your instincts scream at you, and your companions react swiftly, trustingly. Eldar's hand instinctively grabs the hilt of his sword, while Corvar's face hardens, his eyes scanning the surroundings. Lysar quickly dismounts, drawing his shortbow and nocking an arrow. Gedrir, caught off guard, blinks rapidly, confusion etched on his face. But he hastens to obey, urging his horse behind a nearby oak. Tavnar's grip tightens on his falconer's glove, his fingers white-knuckled. He hisses. Erar sees something, stays sharp. The eagle wheels overhead, its piercing cries growing more urgent. The air thickens with tension, every rustle of leaves sending shivers down your spines. The noise grows louder, almost imperceptible but unmistakable. Footsteps, multiple pairs, crunching through underbrush, deliberate and quiet. You're all poised, ready to spring into action. The question hangs unspoken. Who's there and what do they want? I turn to my friends who are scrutinizing the slightest movement. Gedrir frowns, also sensing the danger approaching, Even our horses behind us are growing restless. I look at Tavnar, whose gaze shifts between the small wood and his eagle circling above. Tavnar, with me. We'll scout ahead but stay in the woods under cover. Are you ready? Follow me. The others stay here, protect Gaidrir, and be prepared. I begin to advance discreetly into the woods, sword drawn, Tavnar on my heels, attentive to the slightest suspicious movement. Tavnar nods sharply, falling into step behind you. He murmurs under his breath, "Erar, keep watching." The eagle obliges, flying higher, its sharp eyes trained on the tree line. You both vanish into the shadows of the forest, leaves crunching softly beneath your feet. The trees seem to close in around you, casting dappled shadows that play tricks on your vision. Every snap of a twig makes you flinch. Every whisper of wind sends your hearts racing. Back with the others, Korvar grips his battle axe tightly, standing protectively beside Gaidrir. Eldar's sword is half drawn, his stance ready to defend. Lysar's arrow is knocked, his eyes darting between the trees, searching for any sign of trouble. They're all tensed, waiting for your signal. In the distance, the sounds of stealthy approach grow clearer, though still muted. Whoever's coming is getting closer. I continue to advance cautiously in the small wood when suddenly we hear men whistling. I see a hooded man with a sword leave his hiding place behind a tree in front of us. I decide to charge, but Tavnar holds me back at the last moment by grabbing me by the neck and making us both fall in our tracks, while two arrows coming from our left graze my chest and head and are about to stick in the trunk to my right. I get up and we see a dozen men arrive, daggers, sword, and spear in hand. They charge us. This time we are careful and we protect our left flank by positioning ourselves behind two thick trees. I whistle for my friends to come as reinforcements. That's it, the fight begins. I grab Tavnar, who wants to fight by my side. Tavnar, go protect Gaidrir. The others will arrive. Go. Tavnar's eyes widen, torn between loyalty to you and his duty to safeguard the vulnerable scholar. But he nods, reluctantly tearing himself away. With a whispered command, Erar swoops down, flying back towards Gaidrir and your waiting companions. You face the onslaught alone, using the trees as shields. The attackers swarm around you, their numbers overwhelming. You parry blows, dodging deadly strikes, your heart pounding in your chest. Your whistle echoes through the forest, carrying urgently to the others. Behind you, Tavnar sprints back, calling out to Gaidrir, "Stay close." He positions himself protectively in front of the old man, eyes locked on the tree line, ready to intercept any threats. Gaidrir crouches low, trembling, clutching his chest. Eldar bursts forth from the underbrush, sword flashing, followed closely by Korvar, his battle axe spinning. Lysar emerges last, his short bow twanging as he looses shafts into the fray. Together, they form a wall of steel, driving back the attackers. Movements are agile, fast, and precise. I step back, take side steps, zigzag between the trees, which destabilizes my assailants who end up getting in each other's way. I take the blows of the first and I counterattack by cutting off his hand. The others throw themselves at me and I step back again. My friends finally arrive as reinforcements. Korvar throws himself into the melee and splits the skull of another with his axe, while Eldar skewers the one who came to attack Korvar on his flank. Lysar at the rear fires several arrows which cross the shoulder of one and pierce the neck of the other. Our formidable complementarity and aptitude for combat quickly gives us the advantage. Short of breath, the smell of blood and earth mixed, I feel my gestures become sure again. Thanks to my friends, I regain the upper hand. Your friends' timely intervention turns the tide of battle. With their combined strength, you manage to push back the attackers, exploiting every opening. The enemy, initially overwhelming, begins to falter. Korvar roars as he wields his axe, sending another foe crashing to the ground. Eldar dances around his opponents, his blade slicing through the chaos. Lysar's accuracy proves deadly, his arrows finding their marks with precision. The hooded men stumble over each other, confused, struggling to regain footing. You capitalize on their confusion, striking hard and fast, your sword slicing through the air. A momentary lull in the fighting allows you to catch your breath, assess the situation. There are fewer attackers now, maybe half a dozen left standing, but they're still dangerous, still determined. One of them, seemingly the leader, snarls through clenched teeth. "You shouldn't have gotten involved. This doesn't concern you." He charges forward, a brutal swing aimed straight at your chest. I deflect his blow before counterattacking. They parry several of my blows, but my power and speed help me gain the advantage. But I trip over a large root as I advance and fall forward. However, I have the reflex to deliver a slash to his knee ligaments, which makes him flinch. I roll to avoid him attacking me again before Korvar arrives and decapitates him with a clean blow from his axe, which rolls several meters on the ground. The last two bandits, seeing that all is lost, run away at full speed and disappear into the woods. I get up quickly before addressing my friends. "Let's go see Tavnar and Gaidrir quickly." Your friends rush to your side, relief washing over their faces as they confirm you're unharmed. Eldar sheathes his sword, his expression grim. "Are you okay? That was a close call." Korvar grunts, wiping his axe clean. "Yeah, kid, you good." Lysar lowers his bow, scanning the perimeter warily. "Do you think those two will come back with more?" You don't wait for further questions, already moving towards Tavnar and Gaidrir. Tavnar stands guard, tensed and alert, while Gaidrir remains huddled against a tree, pale and shaken. Erar perches atop a nearby branch, watching intently. As I turn back, I worry about the fate of Tavnar and Gaidrir, but I'm relieved to see that they're both fine. A bandit's body lies at their feet. Tavnar clearly defended Gaidrir well. Bravo, Tavnar. Good work. And congratulations to everyone. Great coordination. We're starting to get the hang of it, aren't we? Tavnar grins, clearly proud of himself. "Just did what needed doing," he says, clapping Gaidrir on the back. The old man nods, still shaken but clearly grateful. Eldar chuckles, sheathing his sword. "Aye, we make quite the team, don't we?" Korvar nods gruffly, his usual gruffness softened by a hint of satisfaction. "We held our own, that's for damn sure." Lysar smiles, relaxing his bowstring. "We're getting better at this, aren't we?" Gaidrir clears his throat, his voice shaky. "Thank you, all of you. I owe you my life." He glances around, taking stock of the carnage. But who were they? What did they want? The question hangs in the air, unanswered. Back on the small path near the woods, I inspect my friends, and I notice that only Korvar was injured in the forearm, but he never complains. The wound does not seem deep, but our healer and archer Lysar takes out alcohol and some bandages to disinfect and treat it. Meanwhile, with Eldar and Tavnar, we are going to inspect the lifeless bodies of the bandits in order to try to find proof of their identity, the reason for their attack. We see some weapons with the initials of their craftsman, a certain PN. That doesn't mean anything to us, but back in our village of Daguar, I will ask our blacksmith who knows the craftsmen of the region well. He will perhaps be able to tell me more. Once Korvar is treated, we take the road again, much more careful than before, even if the tension is gradually easing. Let's go home, friends. This was just a small snack compared to what awaits us on the path to Valamir. However, I would like to find out who these scoundrels are, and who sent them to attack us. Korvar winces slightly as Lysar finishes dressing his wound, muttering under his breath, "It's nothing, just a scratch." He flexes his arm, testing its mobility. Satisfied, he nods, his usual stoicism returning. Eldar crouches beside one of the bodies, examining the PN-marked weaponry. These folks weren't amateurs, well-equipped too. Whatever they wanted, it wasn't a simple robbery. Tavnar nods vigorously, kicking a nearby stone. And they didn't seem interested in looting us either. They were going straight for, well, us. You lead the group forward, the silence broken only by the soft rustling of leaves and the muffled clinking of gear. The sun beats down, casting long shadows behind you. As you approach Daguar, the familiar silhouette of the village rises from the horizon. Smoke curls from chimneys, carrying the scent of roasting meats and baking bread. Home. But the encounter lingers, a nagging unease. Who was PN and why did they target you? The mystery deepens, adding another layer of complexity to your already complicated quest.